There are millions of people across the world who find themselves in what the world calls the middle class. The middle class is an economic class that refers to people above the poverty line, but not people who make enough money to consider themselves rich or upper class. Often it can be easy to get stuck in the middle class. Not everyone knows when they are stuck in a class system, and it can be tough to realize that they're stuck somewhere and no longer moving up or forward. That's why in this video, we are going to discuss the 6 top signs to look out for when someone is stuck in the middle class. Stick around to the end for the most eye-opening sign. Number 6. You're worried about never moving up. The first sign that someone is stuck in the middle class is, of course, the worry and fear. No one that knows they're moving up in the economic world worries about the fact that they aren't moving up. They just know that they are. That's the same for someone who is stuck in the middle class. Someone who is stuck in the middle class knows that they're stuck in the middle class. They stress about it all the time, think about it, and can't get their mind to think about anything else. That's because everyone in this world has a gut feeling, the human body's way of telling someone that their initial belief is right. If someone can't shake the feeling that they're stuck in the middle class, it's quite possibly their mind's way of telling them that they are stuck in it. If someone is constantly obsessing about remaining in the middle class, then there's probably a reason for it. That must mean that they are stuck. A good way to shake this feeling is to start making plans to rise above the class that someone is stuck in. Change your budget to try to save more. Start a side hustle. Do anything and everything to rise above where you feel stuck. Number 5. You rely on loans or credit cards to keep up. One of the darker things to remember about middle-class lifestyles is that they're right above the lower income line. This means that sometimes it will be harder to live without aid or help of any kind. Sometimes that can hold someone back from rising above the middle class. Reaching the upper middle class region of the payment ladder results in higher paying jobs most of the time. But sometimes it simply results in not having debt to hold a family back. This would allow them to save up money over time instead of pouring it out into loans or credit cards. That's why someone who has loads of debt from credit cards or loans tends to remain in the middle class. They are clinging to whatever they can to help them survive. And while most of the time it isn't their fault, some things can be avoided. Maybe they have to use a credit card to help them pay the monthly bills, but maybe they don't need to take out as many loans as they thought. A good way to stop this bad habit is to reflect on the purchasing patterns revealed in the person trying to rise above their station. See where the money is going, what is being spent on what. See if they can make any kinds of changes to take money away from loans or credit, and slowly find a way to distance themselves from debt. They can find it freeing. Number 4. You are working more than one job. Working at a side hustle to make some cash on the side doesn't count toward working more than one job, of course. But someone stuck in the middle class may find themselves desperately floating above water by needing to work 2 jobs. This can not only be suffocating and exhausting, it can keep someone in the middle class. Working 2 jobs sucks the soul out of many people. And while it would be so easy to simply tell someone to quit one of their jobs so they could rise above their middle class standing, it's never that simple. What can be offered is the idea to totally pocket the paycheck from one of the jobs they're working. Try to live as frugally as possible on one paycheck, if that can be managed. Living like they're broke can help them live off one paycheck, while the other sits in a savings account and gathers interest over time. This giant ball of savings that would slowly be growing over time could slowly but surely pull someone out of the middle class and give them enough money to quit one of the jobs they're working. Of course, that's assuming that they don't like the jobs they're working. If they like both, then why not stay at both? If you want to become government rich, then make sure to subscribe for more insightful videos like this one. They'll help you grow as a person, and they're free. Number 3. You tend to dip into your savings. People who tend to find themselves stuck in the middle class often have to dip into their savings to survive. This continues to hold them back over time and prevent them from moving up in the economic ladder because any money that they have set aside is used to pay for bills or other things that they cannot use. Dipping into savings for an emergency is an understandable situation, of course, especially when the emergency comes once in a blue moon. However, when the dipping into savings is a regular occurrence, it can be a telltale sign that someone is stuck in the middle class. This can be preventable in some cases, but in prolonged financial emergencies, it may be harder to do. If someone is trying to rise up from the middle class and become richer, They need to reflect on their budget and their spending habits of choice to decide where they can make cutbacks in spending and what can be changed. They need to decide a better way to save in a way that won't leave them dipping into their own savings over and over again. It can be hard to figure out what sacrifices to make, and sometimes people don't want to sacrifice their spending habits for fear of change. It's good for them to remind themselves of what they're making these changes for, or what they're saving for at the end of the day. It's always a nice reminder to think about it and consider what is truly essential and what isn't. There might be sacrifices that have to be made for a few years, but in the end, it will pay off. Number 2, you haven't achieved higher education or training. Look, college isn't for everyone. Not a lot of people enjoy school, and that's fine. However, it would be a crime to refuse to look into other avenues of moving up on the ladder. Training to be a manager of the store that someone works at, going to a technical school to learn a skill, or even going somewhere like culinary or beauty school are one of the many other fields of study that someone who wouldn't want to get a traditional degree could look into. There are many ways for someone who is trying to rise up in the ranks to do that. They would simply have to put the work in. It doesn't have to come from college, as stated earlier, but it does have to come from somewhere. Work ethic is one of the major things that separates people with a poor mindset and those who wish to increase their stature in this world. There are several different avenues that could be used to make someone rise up in the ranks when it comes to higher education. And for most, it could be the one-way ticket out of the middle class that they've been searching for. Often, rising in the ladder of education or training comes with more pay than originally received. This can lift someone out of the middle class and into the upper class. Sure, rising through the ranks like that isn't easy, but nothing worth doing is ever truly easy. If someone is trying to rise to the middle class, they should consider trying to reach the top of their field. It could be incredibly beneficial for them to do so, and it could pull them into the upper class faster than most of the other tips listed here. Number 1. Your income is below $36,000 a year. This is certainly one of the most telling signs that someone is stuck in the middle class. This yearly amount sets the bar for the middle class. This averages roughly about $3,000 a month to spend on bills, utilities, rent or a mortgage, gas, groceries, and all the other monthly expenses that come with life. If someone has a family with this kind of income, the rut in the middle class that they could be digging themselves could be even bigger due to more family obligations. When someone is only making $3,000 a month, it's hard to set anything aside for savings or focus on rising up in the world. If someone makes less than the bar stated earlier, they are certainly middle class or even a little below it. Now, this doesn't mean that they have to stay in the middle class, of course. It simply means that whoever is trying to be better needs to consider ways to save money better and spend less if they want to rise from their class level to become more rich. They can use any of the tips offered here that they would like or consider to be the most helpful. Or they might consider changing their current career if it's possible to something they enjoy more that also offers more money than what they make currently. There are many ways to climb out of the middle class. It just might take more time than they would like. And if you found this video useful, then you'll love these. And be sure to like this video to let the YouTube algorithm know you'd like to see more videos like this one.